Hello everyone. We are going to discuss a topic of tablets in this particular session. I dedicate this particular session to mainly overview of the topic which has been given in the PCI syllabus. According to the PCI syllabus, we can segregate this unit 2 of tablets into 4 different sections. So we will divide this entire chapter into 4 different sections. Under first sections, we are going to study regarding some introductory part. What is the need of tablet? Why that oral dosage forms are required? That we'll see. Then we will move towards the advantages and disadvantages part of tablets with comparison to different dosage forms, of course. Then we will see which are the ideal characteristics or ideal properties of tablet dosage form. Then we will go for different types of tablets. There are various types of tablets. As you know, there are effervescent tablets, there are tablets for oral ingestion, there are tablets which are for the delayed release. Various types of tablets are there that we will see in this section. This will comprise the first portion of your chapter. Then we move towards the second part, which actually focuses on the tablet manufacturing. So in that part of tablet manufacturing, we will see these contents. We will cover excipients or additives which are used in tablet manufacturing process, such as binders we use diluents, we use disintegrants, we use glidants. So n number of excipients are there, and we will discuss all those excipients and their roles in tablet manufacturing. Then we move towards the formulation part of tablet. If anyone need to formulate the tablet, what are the formulation parameters that have to be considered, that we will discuss. Then we move towards the granulation process. Which are the granulation processes available? As you know, there are mainly 2 granulation processes are available, that is dry granulation and wet granulation type. Along with that, third possibility is that if some material is directly compressible, then that directly compressible material can be compressed directly also. So these are various granulation processes. Then we move towards compression process. So heart of any tablet manufacturing is compression process. So we need to study regarding the compression machines. You must have seen various types of compression machines. So what are the different parts of that machine? In what way actual flow of those steps carry out, that will look for in this particular section, compression process. Then we move towards the processing problems. Of course, during the processing of tablet, that is compression, we or formulation scientists may face various kinds of problems, such as to name a few, we have picking, sticking, we have capping and lamination, different types, color variation. So these are the problems. So we will see what are the reasons behind those problems and what are the probable ways by which we can resolve those problems. That is a very important thing from a formulator point of view. So it is a compression processing problems. Most of the times there you can observe question in the competitive exam like GPAT on processing problem of the tablets. So from that point of view, it is also important. Then we move towards equipments and tablet tooling. So for manufacturing of the tablets compression process, we need to have a tablet compression press, and we'll see which are the different parts of those machines, how they work, what is the actual process involved in the compaction of a tablet, that we'll discuss. Then we'll move toward the third section of the chapter. In third section, we'll discuss regarding various quality control tests for tablets. So in the third section, we will see different quality control tests for tablets. For example, whenever we prepare any kind of dosage form, it is a need that the dosage form which we have prepared, whether it is tablet, whether it is a capsule, whether any kind of dosage form, we need to evaluate that particular dosage form so that we can check the intended properties are there or not. or the intended purpose will be solved or not. So for that purpose there are various quality control tests that a scientist should perform on the formulated tablet, and those quality control tests are like size, shape, organoleptic properties of the tablet. Then there comes weight variation test, then comes hardness testing, then comes friability testing, disintegration test is also there, dissolution test is also there. So all these tests are nothing but quality control tests which are to be carried out on the tablets. Then in the final section of this particular chapter, we will cover a topic of tablet coating. So in some cases there is a need of coating of the tablets. For example, if we need to protect the tablet from the degradation or moisture, we need to coat it. If we want to mask a test of for a particular active ingredient, then we need to coat it. In some cases, if we need to manufacture a tablet which provides sustained release, prolonged release, in that case also we need to coat it. So coating is the last part of the this particular chapter. We will cover coating materials, which are the different coating materials that can be used in the coating of the tablets. Then we move towards coating composition manufacturing. Means during the coating of a tablet, we need to prepare a solution of the coating agent. So coating agent has to be dissolved in a particular kind of solvent, and then that solution is sprayed on the tablet for coating purpose. So we will discuss coating composition manufacturing. Finally, we will cover coating methods. For example, there is a sugar coating, there is a film coating, there is enteric coating. So these are types of coating that we will cover in coating methods. We will finally move towards coating equipment. So for as we have seen, for compression of the tablet, we need a compression press. Similarly, whenever we need to coat a tablet, we need a coating equipment. So there are various ancient types of equipments are also available, and some modified instruments are also available for coating of the tablet. So we will discuss different parts of coating equipment, how they work, that we will see. And finally, as we have observed during the compression, there may be some problem in the tablet manufacturing process. We have covered this in this section. Similarly, during the coating of the tablet, there is a chance that some of the problem may occur. So these problems will be covered in the final section. This is also an important section, as you can observe some questions on this topic of coating of the tablet, problems during the coating of the tablet in the competitive exams. So finally, this is just an overview of the chapter, entire framework which we need to study. Again I am repeating, in first part we will divide this chapter into 4 different sections. In first part we will discuss the need of the tablet dosage form, introductory part, definition, then advantages, disadvantages and types of the tablets. Second section will discuss regarding what are the different excipients, formulation part, compression machine, then compression defects. All these things will be covered over here. Third part is related with the quality control tests. So quality control tests such as hardness, friability, disintegration, dissolution, weight variation, size, shape, organoleptic properties, all these tests will be discussed in third section. Final section will discuss regarding the coating part. So coating equipment, coating composition, then coating composition manufacturing, coating equipments, and finally defects in the coating of the tablet that can be encountered and the ways to resolve them. This we will cover. So this is what we need to study during the entire tablet unit which we need to cover according to the PCI syllabus. So after covering the overview regarding the chapter, we will move towards the first part or first section of this particular topic, that is introduction, advantages, disadvantages, and then some of the ideal characteristic of the tablet formulations. See, first of all, we must consider what a tablet actually is. Tablet is a unit dosage form. It is unit discrete dosage form containing some active ingredient, some of the excipient. It is intended for the oral administration by a patient, and it is intended for either local effect in gastrointestinal tract or systemic effect of the active pharmaceutical ingredient. So that is a broad definition of the tablet. Depending on the type of tablet, definition may slightly vary, but the basic concept is the same. Now, why tablets are very important dosage form? First thing is that out of the every possible route of administration of the dosage form, such as oral route is there, through skin, that is transdermal is there, then directly into the systemic circulation, that parenteral is there. So there are various routes. Topical route is also there. So according to this, according to all possible routes of the drug administration, oral route is of a route of choice that we can say, because the medication is very easy to swallow or easy to ingest, and no specialized or skilled person is required to administer a drug. And it is the simplest and cheapest kind of dosage form which are available for the oral administration. That's why oral route is a route of preference for most of the manufacturers, for most of the physicians, and also more importantly for most of the patients also. And that's why you may say that around 90% of the formulations which are available, they are consumed by oral route. If I say this, it is not an exaggeration. You can experience that more than 90% of the medications which are available, these are administered through oral route, and it is very widely used. In the pre-formulation development of any drug candidate, the first question that any manufacturer asks is that, is it possible to develop a oral dosage form? Because it is easy to manufacture also, cost of manufacturing is less also, and that's why oral route is most widely used. Now, from oral route, which are the medications which we can administer? We can administer tablet by the oral route, we can administer capsules by the oral route. These are solid dosage forms, most widely used. Similarly, we can administer liquids also. We can administer solutions, we can administer suspensions, emulsions we can administer elixirs also. So these are the possible solid and liquid dosage forms. Liquid dosage forms are also having certain disadvantages compared to the solid dosage form, because it is very difficult to carry liquid from one place to another, so cost of shipping will be higher in the liquid dosage forms. It is very difficult to store also. A large amount of space is required for storage of that liquid dosage form in the shelves of the pharmacist, and that's why we prefer to have a solid dosage form, because it occupies less space, it is very easy to transport also, then there is no loss due to the breakage and leakage from the container as can be observed in the liquid forms. So that's why we prefer to the solid dosage forms. Now, from solid dosage point of view, we are having mainly two formulations, that is tablets and capsules, which are widely used orally administered solid dosage forms. If we compare these two dosage forms, then we may say tablets are more convenient, tablets are having more advantages over that of capsules. Of course, there are certain advantages of capsules over tablets also, but these are the special cases. But as such, there are many advantages of tablet over capsule dosage forms. So let us see what are the different advantages. Here we can say, or we can see, patient compliance is advantage of the tablet. So it will be very easy for patient to administer tablet himself or herself. But this may not be possible in case of the children's or elderly patient, because it will be difficult to swallow a tablet for a child or elderly person. But for most of the patient, compliance is highest in case of tablets. Then tablet provides greatest precision and accuracy in the dosing. So dosing precision and accuracy, exact amount of the dose can be delivered by using tablet dosage form. This is the most important advantages. Cost of manufacturing is very low. This is a main advantage of tablet. Then tablets are compact size. The size of the tablet is very small as compared to the liquid dosage form if we are going to manufacture, and that's why it is a compact dosage form and it is light in weight. That's why cost of the shipping, cost of the storage, then area required or volume of the area required or space required for the storage, that is also less in case of the tablet. It is easiest and cheapest to pack and ship. So as it consumes a very less space, so tablet consumes comparatively lesser space, it will be very easy to pack them into strips or pack them into blisters and then transport them from one place to another. So shipping and packing is very, you can say, easy in tablets. Then the product identification is easy and cheapest. Product identification means you must have seen the tablets which are having some embossing or some printing over them, or some kind of markings are available on the tablet. So that is called as product identification. It is very easy to mark a product identification on the tablets as compared to the capsules. So tablet manufacturing gives you extra advantages that the product identification makes somewhat easy. So we can emboss the tablet with some letterings, some markings. If we are having the coated tablet, then we can print letters on those coating that coating surface also. So product identification is easy. Then special release products are possible. Means immediate release tablet dosage forms can be manufactured, but along with the immediate release tablet dosage forms or tablets, we can have modified release tablets also. So we can prepare sustained release tablet, we can prepare delayed release tablets, we can prepare controlled release tablets, and so on and so forth. So modified release dosage forms or tablets can be prepared by same tableting technology. Somewhat modifications, polymers, some techniques that we are going to discuss in later sections of the chapter are to be followed for manufacturing specialized kind of delivery modes such as sustained release and delayed release. Then better suited for large scale production. See, it is very easy operation comparative to manufacturing of other dosage form, and that's why we can manufacture n number of tablets within a very short duration. If you visit any kind of pharma manufacturing industry, you could observe the manufacturing capacity of the or compression ability of the tablet compression press is in the lakhs per hour. So there are the machines which are available which gives you faster production. So output of the manufacturing process is fast in the tablet as compared to other dosage form. Then better stability from the point of view of chemical stability, then physical stability and microbiological stability. So in tablets we will get more chemical stability, more physical stability and more microbiological stability as compared to other products. So these all are the enlisted advantages of tablet dosage form. Every dosage form has its own advantages, but you cannot say it is devoid of disadvantages. So here also in tablets there are certain disadvantages, and that's why people prefer to shift to the other dosage form in certain specialized cases because of some of the disadvantages of tablets. So let us see what are the disadvantages of tablet dosage forms. We have seen the advantages: low cost of manufacturing, then patient compliance is good, chemical stability, physical stability, microbiological stability is high, then easy to identify the product, cost of manufacturing is low, production rates can be high. All these are the advantages. Now we will shift to the disadvantage of the tablets. What are the disadvantages? First one, some drugs resist compression. See, whenever a formulation scientist need to form a tablet, he need to compact that material into a disc-like shape. So your material should be easy to compress, but there are certain chemicals, certain drugs which are difficult to compress. They face some sort of problem while compression. The reason is some of the drugs are amorphous, some are flocculent, some drugs are having some difficult characteristic to compress. So that's why the drugs which are amorphous, the drugs which are less denser, and the drugs which are flocculent are difficult to compress. That is the disadvantage. So you cannot compress the tablets of a drug which are having a characteristic like this: low density, then amorphous nature, and flocculent type of drugs cannot be compressed by using this compression technology. Then second disadvantage is that the drug which is having some special problem, such as drugs which are having poor weighting property, drug which is having poor weighting property, drug which is having slow dissolution, drug which is having intermediate to large doses, these cannot be manufactured into a tablet dosage form, as poor wettability will relate to problems during the manufacturing. Similarly, intermediate to large doses drugs, they will require to form a tablet which is having a higher size, and that size could not be administered by a patient, and that will impose a problem. So the drugs which are having intermediate to large doses, drugs which are having a problem in the dissolution, slow dissolution, drug having poor wettability could not be manufactured in tablet dosage forms. That is second kind of disadvantage. Lastly, again, the drugs which are having bitter taste, they cannot be manufactured in tablet. Of course, we can modify the tablet, we can include some of the ingredients such as the sweetening and flavoring agent to mask the taste. There is another possibility which is available, that we can coat the tablet for masking the taste. So these are the advancements in the tablets that we are going to see in the latter sections of the chapter. But the drugs with bitter taste, drugs which are sensitive to oxygen, drugs which are prone to somewhat degradation in the presence of moisture or oxygen, they are difficult to include or formulate in this particular dosage forms. So we have different means to solve the problems related to these kind of drugs. So these are the disadvantages of tablet dosage form. The drugs which are having amorphous character, poor compressibility, fluffiness, low density cannot be manufactured. Drugs which are having the special properties or chemical problems such as, or rather problems such as low dissolution rate, then poor wettability, they can also not be manufactured. The drugs which are having the bitter taste, drugs which are having large to intermediate doses, and drugs which are sensitive to oxygen or moisture, they also cannot be manufactured in tablet dosage form. So these are the disadvantage of tablet dosage form. Till now we have covered the overview of the chapter. We have divided the chapter into 4 sections, out of which we are discussing first section. In that first section we have covered the advantages of tablet, advantages of oral routes we have also seen before that. Then we have shifted to the disadvantage of the tablet, and now finally we will go for the ideal characteristics of tablet dosage form. So whenever a formulation scientist try to manufacture a tablet dosage form, he must have certain concept in his or her mind that my tablet should follow these particular qualities, or it should have these particular qualities which can be termed as ideal characteristics or ideal properties of tablet dosage forms. Now see, what are the ideal characteristics of a tablet dosage forms? We'll see one by one. First and most important, it should deliver correct amount of drug. It should deliver correct amount of drug in a proper form, means chemically stable form, which is non-degraded. So it should deliver correct amount of drug in proper form at a proper time, or over a period of time which is intended at desired location. So your tablet which you are going to manufacture, it should deliver correct amount of drug over a period of time or within a particular time or at a particular time in a chemically stable and proper form at a desired location. This is the first ideal characteristic of tablets. Then from the aesthetic point of view, tablet must look elegant. So you have seen the tablets, lot of tablets you have consumed, I think. So the tablet must look elegant. So surface should be glossy, then it should be free from the discoloration, free from any markings on the tablet such as black particles present on the tablet, or black dots should not be there on the tablet. So it should look elegant. It should be free from defects. It should be free from the defects such as there should not be chipping, there should not be cracking, there should not be any kind of breakage of the tablet. So it should be free from all these defects and it should look good and elegant. Then it should have strength. So tablet should have sufficient strength. Why tablet should have a sufficient strength? Because to withstand different kinds of shocks. During the manufacturing of tablet, during coating process or coating steps properly, it may have to face certain kind of shocks, mechanical shocks. Similarly, during packaging process, it may have to face some certain kind of shocks, physical shocks or mechanical shocks. Similarly, during the transportation of the tablets also. So during all the steps of tablet manufacturing, coating, processing, handling, then shipping, it should withstand these shocks, and for that purpose it must have sufficient amount of strength in it. The strength can be measured by a parameter which we'll see later, by a hardness testing. So hardness gives the idea regarding the mechanical strength. Similarly, friability is another parameter by which we can predict the mechanical strength of the tablet. Then it should have chemical and physical stability. The chemical nature of the active pharmaceutical ingredient should be protected. Similarly, the physical form of that tablet dosage form should be maintained and throughout entire duration of its handling and storage till the administration. So it must have chemical and physical stability till the consumption by a patient. It must release drug in a predictable and reproducible manner. This is also very important ideal characteristic. It must release the drug in a predictable and reproducible manner. So certain amount of drug, if you intend to release a drug during 8 hours duration with a particular release rate, your drug must release the drug by that rate only. So it must be reproducible and predictable release of the drug should be there. So these are the ideal characteristics of tablet formulation. Now, for a formulation scientist, it is really very difficult to formulate a tablet. There are certain challenges in manufacturing of the tablets, and that's why a formulation scientist must be aware of those problems. See, why the tablet manufacturing is a challenging process. The reason is that there are various parameters which are interlinked, and thereby if you need to improve certain parameters and you modulate your manufacturing or processing steps, the intended parameter will be modified, but another parameter will be indirectly affected, and that's why a formulation scientist must be in a position to have a proper optimum balance between all the attributes. For example, if my tablet is giving a problem that it is not having a sufficient mechanical strength, so to increase the mechanical strength of the tablet, what I can do? can increase the pressure, amount of pressure in the compression. I can extend the amount of dwell time. Dwell time means the amount of time which is imposed for compression of the tablets in the process of compression of the tablet. So I can increase the dwell time, I can increase the compression pressure, but the tablet strength will be increased, hardness will be increased, but simultaneously because of the higher compression pressures, the release characteristic of the drug from the tablet will go on reducing, and that's why whenever you are trying to improve certain parameter, another parameter will get affected, and that's why we need to be in a position to balance these different attributes or different parameters of the tablet, so that optimum formulation with all the parameters at optimum level can be manufactured. So that's why it is a challenging step to manufacture a tablet. So this is how we can study the tablet advantages, then tablets disadvantages, and different ideal characteristics of a tablet. The next part in this chapter is regarding the various types of tablets. Various types or classes of the tablets we are going to discuss. We'll just see the classification in this session, and the details of all the classes we'll discuss in the next session. So there are basically 4 different classes of the tablets or 4 different types of the tablet. First one, the tablets which are used for oral ingestion. So these are swallowed into the stomach mostly. One exception is there, that is chewable tablet in this class, but all these tablets are used to be swallowed. So first category, oral tablets for ingestion. So this is first class, that is oral tablet for ingestion. Second class, tablet used in oral cavity. So these are not ingested by oral route, they are just used in the mouth cavity, oral cavity. These are used in the oral cavity. Third category, the tablets which are administered by other than oral route. So these two are oral route, this is oral ingestion and oral cavity. These are the tablets, third category, which are administered by other than oral route. And last one is the tablets used to prepare solutions, and after preparing the solution, these solutions will be used for some other purposes. In first class of tablets that are used for oral ingestion, so we will administer the tablet, either immediate release or extended release, and we will swallow that tablet. There are different classes of the tablets in this category, such as compressed tablet. इसको standard compressed tablet भी कहते हैं. This is also called as standard compressed tablets, normal tablets which we normally see. Then second class is multiple compressed tablets. Name itself indicate they are compressed multiple number of times. Then they are having 2 examples: layered tablet and tablet within tablet, or compression coated tablet. These are subtypes: layered tablets and compression coated tablets. Then certain other examples are there: repeat action tablet, delayed action tablet, sugar coated tablet, film coated tablet, and chewable tablet. So all these 7 categories will come under the tablets which are used for oral ingestion. Second category, tablet which is used orally, but it is used in the oral cavity only. There are some categories such as buccal tablets, which are administered or used within the cheeks or cheek pouch. Then sublingual tablet, the tablets which are administered below the tongue, these are sublingual tablets. Then troches and lozenges such as candies, you have seen lozenges such as strepsils or Vicks. So that is an example of troches and lozenges. Then dental cones, after a dental treatment, after the extraction of the teeth, there is a chance of microbial attack at that particular position. So there are certain tablets which are used as a dental cones, and they will provide the antibacterial activity at a local action, at a local level. Then third category, tablets which are administered by other than oral route. For example, the tablets which are implanted inside the skin, beneath the skin. So these are implantable tablets, and vaginal tablets. These are the tablets which are inserted into the vaginal cavity. Fourth and the last category is tablet used to prepare solutions. So tablets are there. We have to take some liquid and dissolve that tablet in the liquid, and then that solution of the tablet is used. There are certain categories such as effervescent tablets, then dispensing tablets, then hypodermic tablets, means the solution of the tablet will be prepared and it is prepared in the sterile solution, and then that sterile solution will be administered. So that is hypodermic tablet. And lastly, tablet trichulates. These are, some of them are outdated today also, are not used to the greater extent nowadays. So this is how we can classify the different types of the tablet. First category, tablets which are for the oral ingestion, then the tablets which are administered in the oral cavity, then tablets which are administered by other than oral route, and lastly tablet used to prepare solution. And there are of course some of the subclasses of these four major categories. We will discuss the examples and characteristic peculiar points regarding these subtypes in the next session. So it's more than enough. We'll discuss this classification with some examples, with some peculiar points in the next session. In this particular session, what we have seen, again I am revising the topic wise, we have classified overview of the tablet chapter into 4 different sections. Then we have seen advantages of the tablets, we have seen disadvantages of the tablet, we have seen the ideal characteristics of the tablet, we have seen what is the importance of the oral route, we have seen what are the challenges before the formulation scientist, and then we have seen a classification of this tablet as a dosage form, and this classification will be covered in somewhat depth in the coming session. Thank you.